Now, I'm going to begin with the second suitor, that is County Palatine. So, here Narissa says about this. Narissa says, then is there the County Palatine? She talks about the second suitor. What do you say about this County Palatine? So, Portia says, he doth nothing but frown. She says, he does nothing. Doth means does. He does nothing, but he only frowns, as who should say, and you will not have me choose. He does not do anything, he only frowns, and he should say that that you won't affect, it is not going to affect him even if you choose. He hears merry tales and smiles not. She says that this County Palatine, he listens to very humorous stories, he listens to happy stories, but still he never smiles. I fear he will prove the weeping philosopher when he grows old, being so full of unmannerly sadness in his youth. So she says that, she compares, or she says that when this County Palatine, when he will grow old, he will prove to be a weeping philosopher, since in his youth, at this age only, at this tender age, at this young age, he is full of unmannerly sadness. He is so gloomy, he has such a gloomy nature. So when he will grow old, obviously he will prove to be a weeping philosopher. So this weeping philosopher here is referred to Heraclitus of Ephesus, like who went in the mountains because he did not like the world, he did not like the ways of the world. He was very much sad because of the world, so he went away in the mountains, he wanted to stay there. So that man is referred as weeping philosopher. So Portia is comparing this County Palatine to that weeping philosopher, and says since he is in his young age, he is so sad, he is so gloomy, so obviously when he will grow old, he will be full of more sadness, so he would be a weeping philosopher. I had rather be married to a death's head with the bone in his mouth than to either of these. So she says that I would prefer to marry a skull with the bone in its mouth rather than marrying these two. Like she prefers to marry a dead skull rather than marrying the County Palatine and the Neapolitan prince. God defend me from these two, and then she wishes or she prays to God that may God defend me, may God save me from these two suitors. Now Narissa says, how say you by the French lord Monsieur Le Bon? Now she talks about another suitor who is a French lord, who is the French lord Monsieur Le Bon. So she say, Portia comments, says, God made him and therefore let him pass for a man. Since this Monsieur Le Bon, he is a male, like he is a human being, and God has made him, that is why he can be called a man. In truth, I know it is a sin to be a mocker, but then she says, in reality, I know that it is a sin. Like if we mock at others, if we make fun of others, it is we are committing a sin. But if we make fun of him, then it is not a sin. Otherwise, mocking at someone is a sin. But if I make make fun of him, then it is not a sin. But why he hath a horse better than the Neapolitans? Why she says that she can make fun of him? Because she says he hath a horse. He has a horse which is better than the Neapolitans, and he has a better habit of frowning than the Count Palatine. And she says that this French lord, he has a better habit of frowning than the County Palatine. He is every man in no man. She says that this County Palatine, he is every man in no man, means he has qualities of lots of people. He does not have any individuality. He is every man in no man. If a throstle sing, he falls straight a capering. He says that if a throstle sings, throstle is an English bird. So she says, if a throstle, if County Palatine, if Monsieur Le Bon, he hears, he happened to listen to a throstle, English bird happens to he happens to listen to his voice, then he starts moving up and down, like he starts dancing. He will fence with his own shadow, and what he does, he starts fencing, he starts fighting with a sword with his own shadow. He starts fighting with his shadow. If I should marry him, I should marry 20 husbands. So she says, if I marry this man, if I marry this French lord, it would be I am marrying 20 husbands. If he would despise me, I would forgive him. Then she says, if this French lord despises me, if he hates me, I will forgive him. Like obviously, like no girl would like any man to hate her. Like no girl wants that anyone should hate her. But she says, even if this French lord hates me, I will forgive him. For if he love me to madness, I shall never requite him. Because she says, if this man, this French lord, if he would love me to madness, then I will not be able to requite, I will not be able to return his love. Nerissa, what say you then to Falconbridge, the young Baron of England? So now Nerissa asks about the other suitor, and she says, what say you? Like, what do you say then to Falconbridge? What do you say about Falconbridge, who is the young Baron of England? Young Baron is a king's official. So he says, what do you say about that king's official who is a young Baron of England? Portia says, you know, I say nothing to him, for he understands not me nor I him. Portia says that you very well know that I cannot say anything about him. Why she cannot say anything about him? Because he does not understand Portia and Portia does not understand him. For he understands not me nor I him. He does not understand me and I don't understand him. He hath neither Latin, French nor Italian. He hath means he does not know. He does not know Latin, French or Italian. So this Falconbridge, he does not know these three languages, Latin, French and Italian. And you will come into the court and swear that I have a poor pennyworth in the English. And Portia says that, Portia says to Nerissa, Nerissa, you can very well agree, you will admit that, you will admit in the court, means you can swear, because you are a very close friend of mine, so you know and you can swear that I am very poor in English. So this young Baron of England, he does not know Latin, French or Italian, and Portia is very poor in English. He is a proper man's picture, she says. Like, although this man, the Falconbridge, he is a proper man's picture, means he really has a very good physique. He is really a personality person. He is very handsome. But alas, who can converse with the dumb show? So she admits, although she admits that he is handsome, he is smart, he has a good personality, but she says, but she feels pity and she feels sorry that no one can converse with the dumb show. Dumb show means when we talk with sign language. So she says that no one can converse with the dumb show. How oddly he is suited. She talks about his dressing sense and says that how oddly he is suited. Like he dresses very oddly. I think he bought his doublet in Italy, his round hose in France, his bonnet in Germany, and his behavior everywhere. So Portia talks about the behavior, the dressing sense of Falconbridge, and says that he is very oddly dressed, and she thinks that the doublet means jacket. She thinks that the jacket which he wears, he has bought it from Italy. The round hose refers to the breeches, like you can say the short pant. So that round hose he has bought from France, and the bonnet means hat, and the hat that he wears, he has bought it from Germany, and his behavior everywhere. So this young Baron of the young Baron of England, although he is handsome, he is smart, he has a very good personality, but still he does not have a very good dressing sense. So that is why Portia does not like him, and says the jacket that he wears, he has bought it from Italy. The breeches that he is wearing, he has bought it from France, and the hat that he wears seems like he has bought it from Germany. And his behavior everywhere, and he has the behavior, his etiquettes, his behaviors is a combination of all different countries. Like he does not show, or he does not present one single place. Seems like he does not belong to one single place. He has the habit, or he has the courtesies, he has all the habits of different people or different countries. Then Nerissa says, what think you of the Scottish lord, his neighbor? Then she asks her, what do you think about that Scottish lord, the lord who belongs to Scotland? So what do you think about him? His neighbor. His refers to the man from England, this Falconbridge. So she says, what do you think about that Scottish lord who is the friend of, who is the neighbor of this Falconbridge? So Portia replies that he hath a neighborly charity in him. I would say that this man from Scotland, the Scottish lord, he is very kind, he is charitable kind of a person, because he borrowed a box of the ear of the Englishman, because he got a box of the ear, he got a punch on his ear from the Englishman, and swore he would pay him again when he was able. So this Scottish lord, he is so charitable, he is so kind and generous that Portia says the Englishman gave him a punch on his ear, but the Scottish lord did not return the punch. He did not fight back. He only said that, okay, next time, he swore that next time when he gets a chance, he will surely return the punch, and swore he would pay him again when he was able. So the Scottish lord swore that he will return the punch, or he will fight back next time when he gets a chance. I think the Frenchman became the surety. And then Portia says that, I think during the fight of the Scottish lord and the Englishman, the Frenchman, he became the surety. Frenchman, Montcheville, I think he became the surety of these two. He became and sealed under for another means he signed the documents, or he signed that the agreement that next time if the Englishman gave a punch or gave a box to the Scottish lord would return the punch. Then Nerissa says, how like you the young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew. Now Nerissa talks about another suitor who is the young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew. So Portia says about him, very wily in the morning. He is very wily means very bad. He is very bad in the morning when he is sober. When he is sober means when he is not drunk. So in the morning, when this young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew, when he is not drunk, he is bad. He is bad in the morning when he is sober, like when he is not drunk, he is bad. Most wily in the afternoon, and then he is worse in the afternoon when he is drunk. When he is drunk in the afternoon, he is worse. When he is best, he is a little worse than a man. And when you would call him that, okay, this is the time when this Duke of Saxony's nephew is at his best habit, then at that time he is little worse than a man. And when he is worst, he is little better than a beast. So, and when you would say that he is worse, like he is showing his worst character, at that time he does little better than a beast. And the worst fall that ever fell, I hope I shall make shift to go without him. And Portia says that the worst fall, the worst thing that is going to happen is, I need to live without him. I'm not going to marry him. I need to live without this man. Nerissa, if he should offer to choose and choose the right casket, you should refuse to perform your father's will, if you should refuse to accept him. So Nerissa then says that if he should offer to choose, suppose this Duke of Saxony's nephew, if he says that he wants to choose, he wants to marry you and he wants to make the choice of caskets, then and suppose by chance, unfortunately, if the Duke of Saxony's nephew, he makes the right choice, he chooses the right casket, you should refuse to perform your father's will. Then you refuse, you tell him that you don't want to marry him if he chooses the right casket. So Nerissa says that if he should offer to choose, like if he goes and tries his luck, if he offers to choose the casket and choose the right casket, and unfortunately if he chooses the right casket, you should refuse to perform your father's will, if you should refuse to accept him. If you don't want to accept him, then it's better that you refuse that. You are not going to follow your father's advice, you are not going to marry him. Portia, therefore, for fear of the worst, I pray thee, set a deep glass of Rhenish wine on the contrary casket. So Portia says, okay, that is why I am very fearful. Therefore, that is why, for the fear of the worst, in order to prepare ourselves for the worst condition, I pray thee, I request you, set a deep glass of Rhenish wine on the contrary casket. I request you to put a deep glass, to put a big glass of Rhenish wine, to put a big glass of white wine on the contrary, or contrary means on the wrong casket. Put a glass of wine on the wrong casket. For if the devil be within and that temptation without, I know he will choose it. Because she says that if he will put a glass of wine on the wrong casket, I am sure that the devil will tempt him, the devil will tempt this Duke of Saxony's nephew, and on being tempted by the devil, obviously he will choose that casket only on which the glass of wine would be kept. I know he will choose it. I know that surely, definitely he will choose that casket on which the glass of wine would be kept. I will do anything, Nerissa, or I will be married to a sponge. Means before. So Portia says, Nerissa, I will do anything. I am going to do anything. Means before. Before I will marry to a sponge. She calls this Duke of Saxony's nephew a sponge. Why a sponge? Because he drinks a lot. He is a drunkard. So she says that rather than marrying this sponge, I would do anything in order to save myself. Nerissa, you need not fear, lady, the having any of these lords. Then Nerissa informs Portia, Portia, don't worry, relax, don't worry. The having of any of these lords, you need not worry that you are going to marry any of these suitors that we have mentioned now, that we were talking about. They have acquainted me with their determinations. Nerissa informs Portia that you need not worry, don't worry, because these suitors about whom we were talking just now, they have informed me about their thoughts. They have informed me what they want, what they are planning. Acquainted me with their determinations means they have informed me what they have planned, what they have decided, which is indeed to return to their home. And they have all planned, they have all decided that they will go back home, they will not stay here. And to trouble you with no more suit. They have finalized, they have decided that they will not trouble you with any suit, and they will not propose to marry you, they will not woo you anymore. And to trouble you with no more suit, unless you may be won by some other sort than your father's imposition, depending on the caskets. So she says that these people, these suitors that we have discussed now, these 7 suitors that we have discussed now, she says these suitors have informed me regarding their decisions. They have said that they are not going to trouble you anymore unless you are won over by the right person according to your father's choice, according to your father's will, who would choose the right casket and win you over in marriage. So now Portia, on realizing, like when Nerissa informs her that these 6 suitors whom they have discussed just now, they have informed Nerissa that they are not going to disturb Portia. They are going to leave. They will not disturb her anymore. In that context, Portia expresses her desire, and this dialogue tells us how obedient Portia was, like what kind of a loyal lady she was. She says, if I live to be as old as Sibylla, I will die as chaste as Diana, unless I be obtained by the manner of my father's will. She says that, she promises that she will, even if she has to live as old as Sibylla. I will tell you who is Sibylla. She says even if she has to live as old as Sibylla, she will die as chaste as Diana, unless she is obtained by according to her father's will. Means unless the right person comes and right person chooses the right casket, she will not marry anyone. She will prefer to live as old as Sibylla and as chaste as Diana. So now who is this Sibylla and Diana? This is an illusion, as you all know. So Sibylla, she was a prophetess, like who got a boon from God, Lord Apollo, that the number of grains of sand that she was holding in her palm, she would live that number of years. You can just imagine, like when we hold sand in our palm, how many number of grains a palm can hold, how many number of grains of sand a palm can hold. So she has got a boon from Lord Apollo that she would die, or she would live that number of years. So you can imagine how old she is going to be. So she says even if she has to live that old, with that old age, she will not marry. And as chaste as, she says, and she would die as chaste as Diana. So Diana is the goddess of virginity in Roman mythology, and she was the most chaste woman on earth. So she says, even if I have to live as old as Sibylla, I will die as chaste as Diana. Like I will not marry anyone, I will not fall in love with anyone, even if I will grow old, but I will keep waiting for the right person according to my father's will. I'm glad this parcel of wooers are so reasonable, for there is not one among them but I dote on his very absence, and I pray God grant them a fair departure. Now Portia says that I'm glad, I'm very happy. This parcel of wooers, parcel means you can say pack or group of wooers, group of suitors, they are so reasonable, they are so considerate that they are not going to trouble me, they don't want to disturb me. For there is not one among them but I dote on his very absence. She says that I'm happy that this group of suitors, they are leaving, they are not going to disturb me anymore, because there is not even a single in this group, there is not even a single one in this group on whose absence I will feel bad, or I will feel sad on whose departure. That means she is happy that all of them are going. And I pray God grant them a fair departure. And she requests God, she prays to God that may God grant them a good departure. May these suitors who have come from different parts of the world, who have come by encountering so many obstacles on the way, she prays to God that may these suitors, they reach back home safely. Nerissa, do you not remember, lady, in your father's time, a Venetian, a scholar, and a soldier that came hither in company of Marquis of Montefort? Now Nerissa talks about Bassanio here. So she says, do you not remember, lady, she is referring to Portia and says, Portia, don't you remember in your father's time, like when your father was alive, a Venetian, a soldier and a scholar from Venice, a wise man and a soldier from Venice, that came hither means here, who had come here in the company of Marquis of Montefort. So do you not remember that Venetian, that scholar and that soldier from Venice who had come in the company of Marquis of Montefort when your father was alive? Portia says, yes, it was Bassanio. As I think, so was he called. She says, yes, I remember. As I remember, he was called Bassanio. Nerissa, true madam, he of all the men that ever my foolish eyes looked upon was the best deserving a fair lady. Now Nerissa praises him and says that, true madam, yes ma'am, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about that Venetian scholar, that Venetian soldier who was Bassanio. Of all the men that ever my foolish eyes looked upon, yes ma'am, I'm talking about him only, that all the men that I have ever seen, that my foolish eyes have seen, was the best deserving of fair lady. All the men that I have seen in my life, he is the best deserving man. He is the man who deserves a lady. So he is the best deserving man. Portia, I remember him well, and I remember him worthy of thy praise. Portia says that, yes, I remember him, I remember Bassanio, and I remember that he really deserves your praise. Yes, he is a man of good qualities, he is a virtuous man, and he really deserves your praises. Enter a servant, and as they were talking, a servant enters. How now, what news? So Portia asks him, like, yes, tell me, what is the news? Hello, what news have you brought? Servant, the 4 strangers seek for you, madam, to take their leave. So the servant informs that the 4 strangers, he is referring to these suitors, and there is a forerunner come from a 5th, the Prince of Morocco. So he informs Portia about the arrival of Prince of Morocco and tells her that the 4 suitors, actually he is referring 4, but we have read about 6 suitors. So this is a controversial dialogue here, because like some critics, they believe that Shakespeare might have forgotten that he has referred 6 suitors, that's why he has written 4 here, or maybe he considers the rest 2 as unworthy people, that is why he is not referring them. So we will not probe deep into it, why 4 and why 6. We'll simply go by the text, and here the servant informs Portia that 4 of the suitors who were already there, they want to take Portia's leave, they want to depart. And there is a forerunner. Forerunner means a messenger. There is a messenger come from a 5th, and from a 5th suitor, a messenger has come. And the 5th suitor is the Prince of Morocco, who brings word, and the messenger has brought a word. The word means message. And the messenger has brought a message. The prince, his master, will be here tonight. And the messenger of the Prince of Morocco, he has brought a message that the prince, that is the Prince of Morocco, he himself will be here tonight. That night only the Prince of Morocco will be here. Portia, If I could bid the fifth welcome with so good heart as I can bid the other four farewell, I should be glad of his approach. Portia then says that if I could bid the fifth welcome, if she wishes, if the way she is happy at the departure of the other suitors, she wishes she was happy, or she would feel happy at the arrival of this new one. If I could bid the fifth welcome with so good heart as I can bid the other four farewell. So the way I am bidding farewell, the way I am happy happy for the departure of the rest of the suitors, I wish I was happy at the arrival of this suitor. I should be glad of his approach. I would have been happy. If he have the condition of a saint and the complexion of a devil, I had rather he should strive me than wife me. She says that if he have the condition of a saint, she says that I wish that he should have the qualities of a saint and the complexion of a devil, and I wish that he should have the complexion of a devil and he should have the qualities of a saint. I had rather he should strive me than wife me. I had rather means I would prefer that he should strive me, like he should forgive me like a holy man, rather than making me his wife. Then she says to Nerissa, come Nerissa, Sirrah, go before. So she says like Sirrah, she is referring to the messenger, the servant who had come. So she says to Nerissa, Nerissa, let's go. And she says to the servant, go before, you go before us. Whilst we shut the gate upon one wooer, another knocks at the door. Then she feels bad that though she is happy that other suitors are departing, they are leaving, but another one has come. Some more suitors are coming. So she says, while we shut the gate upon one wooer, like we are shutting the gate means we are making some suitors depart, we are sending some suitors away, another knocks at the door, another one has arrived. Excellent. And after saying this, Portia and Nerissa, they leave the stage. So I hope that you all would go through these paraphrasing. You would try to see the videos, and you would learn a lot many things from here. So do watch my videos and keep subscribing, so that next time when I post another video, you may get the notification for it. Keep doing. Thank you.